All right, Prez, coming down in 3, 2, 1. Wager Talk Today is live.
That's a great start. Oh, Lawrence Prezman here. Welcome everybody to WagerTalk Today. I'm on show number 3. No, I'm not on joint number 3. Oh, but he might be caught red-handed. Gianni The Greek will be starting this show. Steve Merril after that. We got Dave Mason from BetOnline, I hope, and Kyle Anthony will end this show. Dan, did we get a hold of Dave Mason? Because I don't know. Did you get a hold of him? Okay. No, Dan. Gianni, let's go, baby. We got tons of NBA to talk about. We got some baseball, some hockey. Not my greatest opening of all time, I would say, right? Although maybe people enjoyed it.
I'm just sorry. I'm just all over the place. I got so many things.
Clearly, both
because of this crazy draft. Bead, shout outs to my man. Always, brother. Appreciate you more and more every day. That's my guy. That's why we needed to start this with the shout out.
Yeah, dude. Come on.
Blocked
has become a legend based on your legendness. Let's start with the NFL draft right off the bat. And guys, stay with us all the way through. We're going to take apart all the NBA games. We're going to look at the NHL card. We're going to look at baseball. Tons of actionable betting information coming your way. Hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel. Gianni, let's start on the NFL draft right off the bat. I know this is something you bet on a regular basis.
Yep.
Give us some info, brother. It's going
and
today.
Here's what I've learned. I've learned to bet it later. I used to try to get out ahead of all the information, and I found out I made more money, higher return on investment by waiting for confirmation, because I'm not afraid to put up a lot of money to win a little if I know I have the right side, as opposed to putting a little to win a lot just to play like psychic, because that's what you're doing early on. You got to remember, a lot of these GMs and coaches, they're not tipping their hand early. You know what I mean? They might want a player, and they don't want to let that be known because there's a team ahead of them that also is looking for, let's say, a tight end or something like that. But then on the flip side of the coin, you have a handful of GMs and teams that have already told you what they want, who they're getting. In fact, some have even reached out to these players already. So I urge you to trust the line moves that happened today. That's how you're going to make your money. Listen, opinions are great, but Vegas backs their opinions with cash. They know if they're wrong, it's going to cost them a lot of money, kind of like the rankings throughout the season in college football. The only reason you should ever pay attention to them is to see where they're wrong, the narrative, compared to what the odds makers think. Because the odds makers don't care about the popularity contest or the record. They care about, on paper, how good is this team? Would they be favored over the other? That's how they look at it. Power ratings, not rankings. And it's the same with the draft. When you start seeing those line moves confirm something, don't be afraid to bet it. And if the line's gotten a little away from you, here's how you use it. You use it by looking at your mock draft. You should already have a mock draft of what you think is going to happen. And then as it happens, or where you're wrong, then you could cross off players. Like, okay, this guy's gone.
Right.
This team's still looking for a tight end or running back. This is the next best available. That's how you make some money on draft day. That's why I've only released 3 so far. I'm going to give you the biggest bet I made already. And that's the under 2.5 quarterbacks. I started betting that, Prez, at like plus 140. I gave it to my subscribers at plus 130. I even bet it 2 nights ago at minus 105, because as deep as I look on this first round, I can't see more than 2 quarterbacks. I see Cam Ward going number 1,
right,
even though he's not the best available player. He's going to go number 1 to Tennessee. We already know that. But after that, the only thing I see is the possibility of Deion Sanders' son. And his stock continues to drop. Now people think he's going to go to the Steelers around 21. Before that, I don't see a quarterback going except for the number 1 spot. After that, I don't see a quarterback going. So I really feel confident we're going to cash that under 2.5. Just like I feel confident in the over 6.5 that we laid a little bit of juice to go over offensive linemen. Listen, when teams are stuck where a player gets lost that they wanted, you know what they're going after. They're going after an offensive lineman. They're going after the trenches unless there's, a edge rusher available. That's what these GMs are building off of, offensive line and defensive line, unless, again, you have a specialty position that needs to be filled, like a wide receiver or a running back. Like we know the Raiders want a running back. I mean, if obviously they want that kid from Boise State, Ashton Janty. That's who they want. They're not going to go into the season with Mostert and McCormick as their top running backs. That's what Carroll wants. He needs a running back. So if there's a trade before that, or if Janty goes before that, you look for the next available top running back. That's how you make money on draft day, followed by keep that odds logic screen up or whatever you're using and follow those line moves, those confirmations. They all but assure you what's going to happen. Again, it's great when you hit a 10-1, 15-1 long shot. If you're the only one that called the kid from Georgia going to the 6th spot or whatever. But the amount that you're going to lose trying to hit that 10-1 barely is going to cover that up. I'm comfortable laying 400, 500 to win 100 when I know this is all but confirmed. And that's what I'm looking for today. So subscribers, I know you only got 3 prop bets so far. You will receive them over the next couple hours. We make money year in, year out on the draft. This one will be no different.
Gianni The Greek joining us. Guys, hit that like button. Show us some love. Gianni Sniper West from SportsMemo will be joining me right after you. I'm excited. I've never had him on. He is our $2 Tuesday handicapper over at SportsMemo. So, guys, stay with us. Inaugural.
Good job.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And you know what, dude? There's like 40 guys there. Like if he was chosen as our $2 Tuesday handicapper, Sniper West is obviously rolling. We'll talk to him about that after. Brother, let's talk NBA, and then I want to get into a scenario with you, a conversation I had last night with a weekend bettor, so to speak, that I thought was fascinating. NBA tonight, we got 3 games going.
Books got buried last night, baby. They got buried. Orlando got them there. Luckily, they got Orlando there. It would have been a horrific night because Houston not only got the money on the money line, they got the money against the spread as well. And like I said, the wise guys were going unders, and they didn't get there. I didn't release an NBA play yesterday. Fortunately, I avoided that landmine. But for today,
I did.
What we got.
I did.
I
released Houston on the money line minus 155. Obviously, I would have, damn, why didn't I take them on the point spread? But it made no difference either way. I cashed my ticket. I called it a day. My run in NBA continues. Gianni, my runs right now, brother. The two of us are on fire. Like, I've had 1 losing day in the last 10. I've had 5 losing days in the last 25 days.
Best feeling.
Yeah.
Best feeling.
And my MLB and my NHL, dude. I know it really is. It really is an incredible feeling. But with that said, the feeling of losing is way worse than the excitement of winning. So we all do have to take that with a grain of salt. Okay, NBA, what do we bet in all 3 of these games?
Sharp bettors immediately bet Oklahoma City at minus 8.5. And that was not a surprise because that's going to be the overwhelming public side. Mm-hmm. So here's what they know. We bet minus 8.5 in those accounts that are shaded as sharp. The books are going to move it. The public don't care about whether it's 8.5 or 9.5. They're still going to bet it. I think if this line gets to double digits, that's where you're going to see some take back on the other side, on the home team, on the Grizzlies. I'm not convinced that Oklahoma City's a legit move. I think that's more like getting out ahead of the market when you're all but assured you're going to have a better number in your pocket than what that game closes at. And then they're also betting the dog in the Detroit Knicks game. You got a little more dog money on Detroit. Not surprised. It's a coin flip type of game. I think that's going to balance out. I think you'll get just as much Knick money later on. But it's the late game. It's the late game where you have, the Clippers getting bet by the sharp bettors. and the recreational bettors are actually taking the Nuggets. So they're going to help offset that risk there. And under is also where the groups got in. They went under 214.5. Again, they're only betting these unders more or less in NBA playoffs. So to tie that up, they got ahead of the market on Oklahoma City -8.5, but that one's going to be heavily bet by the betting public. Look for a middle opportunity if you see that line start to drop a little later in the day. And then the Knicks Pistons, good two-way action there. That's why you're not seeing much of a line movement. Nuggets, Clippers, opposite opinions. Recreational bettors liking the points with the Nuggets. Sharp bettors laying the points with the Clippers all the way up to -4 and 4.5. And then they also went under 214.5. Not much there from the recreational bettors yet. So it's not a day like yesterday to have a ton of risk on one team. It's kind of a little bit more spread out. And with the Nuggets being that late game, that'll be heavier bet by the public. They have the sharps that are offsetting that risk. So it's going to be one of those days where it's good to be a bookmaker. Getting 11 to 10, nothing better than that, because they're going to get a ton of volume and not much risk.
Gianni, awesome stuff, brother. So I want to talk to you about a conversation I had last night really quick with, and I was at a bar and I said to my friend, we were watching the Washington Capitals play Montreal Canadiens. I bet the Capitals in regulation. I released it to my clients at 1. But he bet the Montreal Canadiens in regulation at +240. And I asked him, I said, what made you make that bet? What was your sort of mindset? And he told me, basically, it came down to the fact that they were +240. That was his mindset. He could pay $100 and win 240. And I said to him, if you are betting, if this exact game takes place 10 times, same scenario, game 2, Washington with their lineup, Montreal with their lineup, Washington up 1-0 in Washington, same exact scenario. It happens 10 times in a row. How many times do you think Montreal wins in regulation? His response was 25% of the time. What would make a person bet a +250 if they have 25% chance of winning that bet?
Tell them you need +300 just to break even. So
right.
You're way below break even. At 300, you're breaking even. So you need +350 or better to feel you made a good bet.
And
that just doesn't play out.
And that's what I want to talk to our listeners about. That concept of ask yourself that question, guys. Like, before you just make a bet, I thought there was a lot of value on Dallas last night and they won, but I didn't make the bet. Why didn't I make the bet? Because they were 20 cents off of the value I needed to make that bet. Don't just pick winners or bet against teams that you think are going to lose. That's not going to work. You've got to ask yourself those questions. What is mine?
If you just pick the outcome, we would just bet the better team on paper every time.
Right.
4 times than not, you look down, you know who the better team is. You just bet the better team. Shout out to All About, my man, All About My Bills. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And Mark, feeling great about the UFC. In fact, I have a 5%. You know how rare those are, but there's a 5% up there in UFC for Saturday. So feeling confident there.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make mention of that, guys. Just ask yourself that question as you move forward, especially in baseball. How many times, at home, the Dodgers play, the worst team in the league, and they're -410 with that pitcher against that pitcher. Ask yourself, how many times out of 10 or out of 100 in that spot will the Dodgers win? And if it's less than what they're giving you, take that into account. Don't just jump on games when you think one team is going to beat the other. You will get annihilated. And look, he was wrong. He bet his +240, and you know how much money he made betting $100 to win 240? 0. So I just wanted to say that, because that really is one of the biggest issues that face amateur bettors, is that concept of just which team is going to win. Therefore, I'm betting them no matter what. I'll chase the line till I'm blue in the bloody face.
Hey.
Yeah. What's the dog's name?
Baby. Wasn't mine. You know, mine was Bruiser. And Rocky.
What kind of dog?
But they were lost. This is a baby poodle.
Poodle. Cute. Gianni, baseball, hockey, let's go, and then we'll call it a day.
All right. In NHL, they're on Ottawa. No surprise, Ottawa at home, and the public's on Ottawa as well. I'm a little worried about that. The line reflects some respect on Ottawa, but I think if you got down early, it's obviously a good bet. You got some CLV. But when I see the Sharps and the public on the same side, and the public continues to bet it at a bad line, that usually worries me. But then they also bet Vegas. And that's a side I actually lean a little bit, but I'm not going to lay that kind of price on the road. The opener was good at 140. At 160, I would not bet Vegas. In my opinion, I like St. Louis against Winnipeg against St. Louis. That's the one road favorite I think is warranted. I think they win that game 6 out of 10 times. I think they should be a minus 150 at worst. So just an opinion out there. I like the Winnipeg side. Real quickly, in Major League Baseball, here's what we're looking at. White Sox at plus 205 or better, so they don't think they would lose that game 2 out of 3 times. 908 A's plus 130, plus 125. Also under 9 in the A's game, all the way up to minus 125, so they don't have to go under 8.5. LA and Pittsburgh, over 8.5 from minus 105 all the way to minus 125. So willing to pay heavy juice not to go over 9 in that Pittsburgh, LA. And finally, Tampa Bay, Arizona. 2 numbers they bet, over 7.5, laid a little juice to go over 7.5, then took the 8 at even money, then bet the over 8 all the way up to minus 115. So definitely a lot of sharp money on the over in Tampa Bay, Arizona. So that's White Sox, A's and under, over in Pittsburgh, LA, over in Tampa Bay and Arizona in Major League Baseball.
Gianni, your boy Block wants to know how you calculate that you need plus 300 to justify a 25% win rate. If you want to do it on Twitter, go ahead. If you want to do it now, go ahead. If you want to save it to Monday, go ahead. Your choice.
Yeah, well, it's different for every sport because you're talking between a money line and a point spread. You got to remember, you could even do this in NFL because all you have to do is flip the money line into the point spread. Every point spread equals a certain money line. With -6, maybe I'm just arbitrary number, minus 250. You know what I mean? So if you're going to lay 6, it's going to equate to a money line of minus 250. Minus 250, you know you're going to need minus 300 where you win that game, 3 out of 4 times to think you have an edge. Now, as far as how you determine that implied win probability, everybody does it differently. There's no specific formula or equation that you could follow. That's the goal.
It's not.
That's the holy grail. How you do it. Are you able to get there from a program? Are you able to get there from certain stats you look at? Are you able to create a model that spits out implied win probability? There's no secret formula.
That's the key, guys. And yes, because for instance, Marco does his win probability based on situational handicapping.
Models
you base your win probability
if you're a programmer, because it's there's no bias. You punch in the numbers, it's going to spit out. It's going to play the game for you 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times, depending on what your program is, and it's going to spit out the implied win probability after playing the game 1,000 times at that number. That's the best way to do it. But again, I'm not a computer savvy, tech savvy type of guy, but I know a lot of you younger people are. I would get into modeling. I would really get into modeling.
And Gianni, and we're not going to talk about this, but I want to throw this out there. Maybe we'll get to it next week, is this concept of NHL regulation betting too, because you have a situation where a team is minus 180 on the money line. If you bet them in regulation, it's 60 cents less. So now the modeling becomes, what's the better bet? Is the better bet paying the 60 cents and taking it on the money line, or saving the 60 cents and putting it on the regulation line? And there is math equations out there that can help you guys figure that out. Unequivocally, the better bet is taking it in regulation. Anytime you have a money line bet in NHL and you take it in regulation from start to finish at the end of the year, you're going to be better off. 60 cents is way too high a price to pay to take the game with overtime included. But there's
Craig, go under, Craig. Ottawa, I like under. I like the under.
The Ottawa-Toronto game?
Yeah, I like that under.
I love that under. Gianni The Greek, my man. Have an
Thank you,
incredible weekend. We'll see you tomorrow. Have an incredible Thursday. Be good, my friend. Guys, couple of quick things to roll through. Firstly, our good pal Andrew Waj wrote, Alex writes, why doesn't Eddie co-host anymore? Waj writes, Teddy and Prez are beefing. They hate each other. That is totally wrong. Teddy and I freaking love each other. Love each other. There is no beef. Teddy moved on. It's all good. He was just too busy. We also have some big Wager Talk news coming on Monday. So stay with us for that show. And I know, Waj, that you were joking around, brother, but I just wanted to use that as an opportunity to say we got some big news coming. Miles, my man, I see you in the chat room. Thanks for coming on. You're going to tell me that Blue Line is trash? JP writes, Prez, it's hard to buy your NHL plays when every single play on the Blue Line is winning. Yes, fair enough. Go to the Blue Line, watch that show, and get my plays there. I have no problem because that Blue Line show is unfreaking believable. It is so fun to do as well. Anyway, guys, let's get to Sniper West, and then Steve Merril is going to come on to talk NBA. Sniper West, you can find him at SportsMemo. He's our $2 Tuesday handicapper there. He's an exceptional handicapper. We're lucky to have him. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, Prez. Thank you so much for having me on. I'll tell you what, I've been watching you for a long time. I remember back during COVID, you obviously know sports going on, and you kind of went into the documentaries of, all the cappers and all the guys in town, Dave Koken, and I've been watching you for a long time, so it's a pleasure to finally be on with you. And thanks for having me on.
No, dude, absolutely. And it's my pleasure. So, to me, I do this every day, and it's always good to have some new faces on here with us. You have a $2 Tuesday play for the clients. We'll get to that first after. Do you have a bet to give out on the show today?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of leans. You want to talk some hockey? You want to talk some basketball? You want to talk some baseball? What do we want to talk about today?
Dude, there's never a moment when I don't want to talk hockey, but I'm kind of hockeyed out. You got any thoughts on the New York Knicks Detroit game? I'm catching you right. I mean, literally zero planning, no preparation. I throw a game at you. Can you handle it?
Well, I do have an opinion on this game. So, first of all, Detroit has been the better team here for 7 of the 8 quarters, okay, in my opinion. Obviously, they have that implosion, 21-0 run in the fourth quarter of the first game. That was not pretty, but they learned a lot from that, right? They rebounded nicely, and they faced adversity in that second game. If you remember, they started to not really implode, but they weren't playing well down the stretch, but they overcame it, and they actually won that game. So I think that bodes well for their confidence. I think they're coming back home. If you remember Detroit basketball, right? They haven't had a home playoff game in a long time. I don't know how long, but it's probably been over a decade. So that place will be raucous. I like the Pistons here. Just a lot of confidence. And I just think that they're, all the momentum is with them right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Pistons here on the money line. I think they're maybe plus 100, plus 105 right now, but I like the Pistons tonight.
Yeah. And it's also, it's one of those interesting things where you're right. Detroit has not brought a full game out yet. And I think that bodes well. I think they're coming into this game with confidence. And I think emotionally the Knicks must be saying, hey, we're playing good ball. We just can't seem to get it over the edge. Makes sense to me, my brother. So what is your best sport, Sniper West? Is it hockey or basketball?
Well, I will tell you what, I've had a very good season in the NBA this year. In fact, I'm looking at I have the record up right here. Actually in the playoffs, I'm 4-1, plus 1180 to the good already. They took the record down for the regular season, but I believe I was 57% in the NBA for about plus 5,000. Yeah, really good NBA season. And UFC has actually been pretty good to me for 2025 as well. Yeah, 65% in the UFC. We have a card coming up this weekend as well. Looking forward to that. 22-12 in the UFC, plus 4203 to the good. I haven't looked at the card this weekend yet. Only reason why I like to watch the weigh-ins before I kind of really handicap everything. So usually Friday afternoon, I'll start working on UFC.
There we go. Sniper West. Outstanding stuff. You can find him at SportsMemo. He's our $2 Tuesday handicapper. He's got a 5% max winner. It's only $2. It's less than a cup of really shitty coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. So take advantage of that. Really nice to have you with us. I can't thank you enough, brother. Best of luck with your 5% play. Let's keep the show rolling real quick. Shout out to all of you guys who enter the chat room on a regular basis. Thank you for that. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. The Blue Line will be live. We're going to combine it with Puck Time. Me, Andrew McGinnis, Matthew Barnaby, Andy Lang, and a couple of NHL hockey players. We're going to go through this entire slate of games for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and some future bets. We'll take your questions. Make sure to join us 1 p.m. Eastern live. Steve Merril joining us live right freaking now. How are you, my man?
And just to prove that Teddy Covers loves this show, he didn't come on his spot, and we had Sniper West instead today.
Yeah, Teddy was having internet issues. Or so he tells us.
Well, exactly. We don't know. I saw him on Facebook 10 minutes ago. No, just kidding.
Yeah. But that was some deep voice. That was like, you doing phone sex these days?
I'm hurting, guys. So talk about reverse kiss of death. The pollen in Virginia this year has been as bad as I've ever seen. I say that every year. And then about 5-6 days ago, my eyes weren't itching for 4 or 5 days and nothing was bothering me. I go, we're good. We're done. And then like 2 days ago, it is the worst I've had. And I see an article yesterday that says it's going to be bad the rest of April. So I'm healthy. Just got the throats going. But I'm also doing every NBA playoff game every day in a video, including all 3 tonight. We're going to talk about a few here. But once again, check out the videos. And Prez, you mentioned how, you give away a lot on the NHL show. I'm giving away every NBA playoff game.
Yeah.
So why do people still buy my picks? Well, because I'm not using every playoff game as a best bet, right? I've got 2 best bets tonight. I'm giving 5 or 6 opinions. And by the way, on an 8-2 runs, if you're playing all the videos, you're winning, but you're not hitting 80% like my best bets over the past week.
Yeah, no, and well said. Except the crazy thing is, I'm 4-1 in the playoffs for my clients, and I'm probably 20-1 on the Blue Line. So it is tough. Listen, we gotta get the show moving. We still got Dave Mason from BetOnline coming. We got Kyle Anthony to talk UFC. Let's dig deep into Oklahoma City and Memphis. Gianni came on already. He said a ton of wise action is being bet on OKC. Public is on OKC. 62% of all bets made today is OKC. The line has moved a full point. They're now minus 2.5. The total is 227. Where are you going in this one, my brother?
Yeah, Prez, this is a good example of what I'm talking about. In the video, I did the video the day before. I put it up last night so people can get the deep dive for all these games here on WagerTalk TV. But I lean towards the Grizzlies. It's Memphis or pass for me. But once again, not a game that's going to make my best bet card. So this is one of those examples. It's a light lane only. I'm not looking to fade a team down 0-2 at home, but I'm also not looking to fade the best team in the NBA. I thought game 2 maybe was a decent spot for Memphis as well. Luckily, I left that off the best bet card. It's one of the reasons I'm on an 80%, 8-2 best bet run is because I'm not forcing plays on every game. But the videos, I do give you my breakdowns. I'll let you know which way I'm leaning. And one of the things I said about game 2 is like, look, we know the Thunder can blow out Memphis. They just won by 51 points in game 1. And by the way, that was an NBA playoff record for game 1, 51-point win. They're by far the best team in the league. They had 68 wins this year. I think Cleveland, Boston had, 61 or so? Yeah. That's how much better they were than everybody else. Yet the Grizzlies are still a capable team. So the question becomes, does OKC take their foot off the gas? They didn't do so in game 2 with the 19-point win. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen tonight. And we are getting some line value. I mean, this line was 8.5 when I did the video yesterday. Now it's 9.5. Yeah. And we're seeing 9.5 minus 115 at BetOnline. So Dave Mason will probably confer that they're getting some money on the Thunder as well. We might get a plus 10 by tip-off. Grizzlies are pass for me. The line is inflated. Long term, there's probably a slight edge money-wise or math-wise with this inflated line. But once again, nothing would surprise me if the Thunder want to win by margin. They've shown they can do it. One other interesting point I'll point out about the Grizzlies, if you look at net rating for the overall season, Oklahoma City, the best team in the league. Grizzlies had the 6th best net rating in the NBA this year out of all 30 teams. So they are a capable team.
Right.
Problem is they had some injuries, Clark, other guys down the stretch, and they're only like 17th in the last 10 games. But I would lean Memphis here. But once again, you're playing against the best NBA team if you do so.
Steve Merril joining us. Steve, what do you got going with the clients before we jump into our next game?
Yeah, so not using that game tonight, but I do have 2 strong NBA best bets. I've got a side and also a team total. And we cashed our team total last night, cashed it the night before as well. And the NBA is just smoking right now. And it's funny, you guys were talking about that Knicks game. I had Detroit in game 1 on Saturday, and the Knicks went on a 21-0 run and barely covered.
Yeah.
And ever since then, we've gone 8-2, 80% Sunday on. So that was really the turning point. We're on a monster run in both baseball and basketball. And this time last year, we did the same thing, and my clients had doubled their bankroll by the end of August. We were up over 100 units by the end of August last summer, and it started right now. If you'd like to get a 1-year all-access, every sport, every day for about $1 a play, use promo code SM365. Full details on my page, along with a free baseball play tonight. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker, WT.buzz/SM.
Steve Merril joining us. Dave Mason still to come. Same with Kyle Anthony. Steve, let's get into the Denver LA Clippers game. I'm rolling in NBA right now. I've told everybody since January 4th, I'm up 60 units of profit. My playoffs have been ridiculous, and I'm on a 23-10 NBA run. I had the Clippers in game 2 against Denver. We got it done. Now they're home and they're -5.5, which I find to be a fascinating line. I think that line, it feels high to me, Steve. I'm curious where you're going here.
Yeah, another game in which we've seen the money come in on the favorite. It opened 4.5 a couple of days ago. You'll see WagerTalk showing the consensus line is -5, but then again, our friends at BetOnline, Dave Mason will tell you next, it's 5.5 there now, and some of the other sharper books. So I think the money is on the Clippers. I think the sharp early money was on the Clippers, and I would agree with that move. I liked LA as well in game 2. I gave that out free in my video. You know, I mentioned I leaned to Memphis, but I gave out the Clippers for free as well. Didn't use either one of those as best bets the other night, but gave a nice winner in the video there. And one of the things I pointed out is that I thought the Clippers were the better team. And yes, they lost game 1, but that was in overtime by just 2 points. Keep in mind, it was in the thin air and altitude of Denver. That's always an edge for the Nuggets the longer the game goes, especially OT, as they're used to it. And the Clippers had not lost a game in April until that loss in game 1, which was once again by just 2 points in OT. They also had a 15-point lead in that loss in game 1 and blew it. So thought they would bounce back in game 2. They did do so. Overall, a pretty evenly matched series. So you would think on the surface, the zigzag would work pretty well here, and it might. But I still lean towards the better team in game 3 when it's 1-1. I'm going to throw the zigzag out. I think the Clippers get the win here. Yes, the line is inflated, but if they get the win, they most likely get the cover. One thing you don't want to do, and you and Johnny were talking about this earlier, is you don't want to just take a 4 or 5 point dog and hope they cover, right? You got to think they have a good chance to win outright. I see LA winning this game tonight, so I like them as well. And one thing I'll point out real quick, Prez, about that net rating I mentioned. If you look over the last 15 games of the regular season, the Clippers had the best net rating in the NBA, ahead of even OKC, and they were the #1 offensive efficiency team and the #3 defensive efficiency team over the final month of the regular season. They're playing excellent basketball right now. Now, the Nuggets have played better since firing Malone and the general manager exactly 2 weeks ago. So they've also played better ball, but I think the Clippers are a better team overall, and they get this pivotal game 3 tonight.
There we go. Steve Merril, outstanding stuff. One of the most listened to and watched experts we have over at WagerTalk, and there's a reason for that. Check him out on his own NBA short video every day, right? 7
right
days a
now,
week?
just click. Another reason to click subscribe and click that bell here on WagerTalk TV, because I'm getting every game, every day for the NBA playoffs up for the next 2 months. And if you're finding it useful, thumbs up, positive comments below, and we will keep these videos coming free right here on WagerTalk TV.
Yes, sir. Guys, real quick, I just got Slacked. That's what we use internally. I got Slacked a promo to give out. I was bragging about how much money I'm making for my clients, and head office was like, yo, Prez, if you're going to brag, tell them to buy your month. So buy my month, 30 days of my NBA and NHL, only $195. So you get them both. So it's basically buy one, get the other free, $195. my NBA and my NHL playoffs, and I'm telling you, nobody is beating me in those two sports combined since January. Nobody. And it's not even close anyway. Dave Mason joining us. Dave, WrestleMania, dude. How freaking big was WrestleMania for you guys?
Yeah, hey Prez, thanks for having me. Good to see you this week.
You too.
It was big, man. I mean, it's just one of those things too that we just put up for for the heck of it, and get a few bets here and there. Now it's like, I mean, we still keep the limits somewhat small, like a $50 to $100, but the bet count, I mean, holy hell, like more people are betting on that than make major games of that day as far as bet counts are concerned. So, people just love to have that little taste. Again, it's something we can't get too ballsy with for obvious reasons, but people like to put a little bit of money on it. And as usual, we lost a little bit. It wasn't too much, but we lost. The events like that we usually do lose on, but it's fun though, and our clients love it. So we don't mind giving back a little bit here and there on an event like that.
Yeah, I have not watched WrestleMania yet, and that yet might be forever. The Pope, tell us what's going on with the pontification for the pontiff.
Right, man, the Pope, right? We have odds on that. You're already hitting into the good stuff, huh? Screw the playoffs and all that. We're going into the Pope now. Yeah, WrestleMania, the Pope. Yeah, man, this is another market that people love to bet, man. It's what do we got here? Right, we put up odds on who's going to be the next Pope, and Luis Antonio Tagle, and if I butcher any names, I apologize. The 2-1 favorite, Pietro Parolin, it's plus 270. Then it drops down to Peter Erdu at plus 750, and so on and so forth. We have a few dozen guys offered. Our biggest liability is Jean-Marc Aveline at 14-1, and then the favorite Tagle is also a liability. So yeah, man, this gets everything gets bet. Whatever, no matter what the hell we put on the website. That's what we're all about, man. We love the action, right? Well, whatever.
Yeah. So where are we at on the Canadian election? How are those going?
Oh man, I haven't even looked. I got to pull that up now. Let me get back to that one as I pull it up.
Dave, what do you come on the show thinking I'm going to ask you about the NBA, bro? Come on.
Yeah, right. You threw me a couple curveballs here early, man. Look, the good thing I was looking at a couple of those markets last weekend and right now. But the Canadian election, I have not looked at, so I'd have to pull up all that stuff. Go on to the next one, and I'll pull that up.
So yeah, blocked writes. I thought it was illegal to bet on the next Pope. What? Illegal by who? I mean, maybe DraftKings and FanDuel can't take Pope bets, but BetOnline don't give no rat's schmuckety poo poo on all of the American laws. And as far as the sea, what is it? The Red Sea? What I don't remember what the Vatican calls themselves. But as far as their rules, I don't think BetOnline cares about their rules either. So the term illegal has no relevance to this conversation. Right, pretty much, Dave. You don't care, right? I mean, let's be honest.
The stuff we stay away from is stuff that death, all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's like, and I always say, some people think it's off color to offer those odds or whatever. Even WrestleMania, how can you? It's scripted. How can you offer that? I always tell people, if you don't want to bet it, don't bet it. If you don't like it, ignore it. And I think that goes in a lot of things in life. Everybody just loves to bitch these days about everything. It's like, and me, it's like, if I don't like something, just ignore it. If you don't like the Pope odds, ignore them. You know what I mean? So whatever, we'll put them up there. And there's a lot of rest of world books, not just us located down here where we are, but a lot of European books offer that. So, whether brick and mortars up or whatever up the north of the border can't offer, I don't know. I'm sure one day they will, but we can. We're a rest of world book.
Yeah. What the hell is Dan? Forget Dan Alexander. Let's get into NBA, dude. 3 games going today. 4 games in NHL. We'll go there next. Where's all the money going in NBA on the NBA games tonight?
Yeah, as far as Sharp is concerned, I'll do that first. OKC -8.5, Pistons +1.5, Clippers -5 or better. As far as total money is concerned, let's see. Thunder. Most of the money's on the Thunder, about 58% of the cash. Then the Knicks big. I mean, Knicks, we're going to need Pistons big tonight. About 73% of the cash is on the Knicks. And then Nuggets Clippers, that overall cash is pretty close to 50-50.
And NHL 4 games tonight. Seems like a lot of money is coming in on the Ottawa Senators. That feels like, looking at the lines, the biggest move. Florida and Tampa Bay has held firm. And we're seeing pretty close to equal money bet on Vegas Mini and Winnipeg St. Louis. Any bets for us?
Sharp stuff. Yeah. Senators -117. That got hit. What are they now? They're -128. Vegas -1.5 +180. That's now -1.5 +165. That's some of the sharper stuff. As far as overall cash, the Senators, it's about 67% of cash is on them again. Currently -128. Vegas Golden Knights, I mean, they're getting pounded. That's about 83% of the cash on the Golden Knights, -161. Jets Blues, not a lot of overall cash yet, so anything I say there would kind of be misleading. But the other games are getting great action.
Brilliant stuff. What do you got to promote?
What do I have to promote? Well, NFL drafts tonight, man. And the biggest pain in the ass and bookmaking. It's such a pain, but as an NFL junkie, we love it. We have a couple contests. There's $20,000 worth of cash up for grabs. We have a $10,000 NFL mini mock draft and a $10,000 NFL props predictor. So get on over to betonline.ag and hit up the contest page, enter those, and then bet the draft.
There you go. Do you have a draft bet for us?
No. I mean, I bet stuff, but all the numbers are all gone and everything. So I bet some stuff early. I got the better part of the number on some and not that so great on the others. But I mean, those numbers fly, man. It's hard to keep up. I mean, one of those events, we just hope we cross our fingers and we hope we break even.
There we go. Dave Mason from BetOnline. We're lucky to have him. Kyle Anthony still to come. I want to shout out, I forgot the names here. Jonathan and Cody. Both of you guys just purchased my full 1 month NHL and NBA. You can get it for $199, $195. Both of you guys already purchased it. We just put it up like 10 minutes ago. So thank you. So much love. Kyle Anthony, talk about love. How are the women?
Good. It's been a solid run. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, it always is. Yeah, I've asked Kyle to share so many times. He did share one pick. He shared one pick.
Yeah. Because the one time I did talk to you about something on the side, it was the first thing you brought up on the show. So I gotta watch myself around you. I gotta watch.
Yeah, there you go. We all have to watch our. I'll tell you though, Kyle, I accidentally FaceTimed Dan, and my wife saw him. So,
It's a battle.
My wife is extremely attracted to Dan, our producer. How do I deal with that?
Look at that. You have too much coming at you now. You got too much coming at you now.
Good thing she hasn't seen Mark Zeno. Anyway. Because she likes the big guys, not me, dude. I'm not one of those that can hold him up against the wall. Okay. What has happened to our show? Give us some UFC bets, please.
We're going off the rails here. All right. So I do have, first one we're talking about is Ming Yang Zhang -520. And the comeback, you've got Anthony Smith. He is +390. Now, this feels like an absolute smash spot for Ming Yang Zhang. And obviously that's what the line is indicating at this point here. You look at this here, and the first thing, the big red flag on the Anthony Smith side is the fact that he's on his retirement fight. This is, really the end of his career here. He's 36 years old. He's probably 56 years old when you're talking about MMA mileage that he has had. And now on the flip side here, you've got Ming Yang Zhang, who is absolutely a guy that the UFC wants to build up. He's Chinese. That is a big market that they want to continually stay involved in, big viewership. And he's also now the co-main event in this spot here. And the big thing about Zhang is he is an absolute finisher. He's got 18 victories. All of them have come inside the distance, 100% finish rate. And out of those 18 victories, 12 by knockout, 6 by submission, and all of them coming in round 1. So this guy will go out there and get the job done early. Now, the way that I'm looking at this is that Anthony Smith, he just does not really absorb shots very well. He's a guy that once things start getting tough, he's starting to turtle up a little bit. He's starting to shell up with Zhang, who's coming forward with the big power. And I don't think he's going to have any respect for Smith. I think Smith, who does not have much power at all, I don't think he's going to really do much on the feet. I think Zhang is going to come forward, land big shots. And you've also got Smith, who's 37-21 as a professional. He's been knocked out 10 times. The durability is really starting to deteriorate here, all declining. And really the only way that Smith has any type of success here is looking for takedowns. And that's not anything that he historically does. He averages less than half a takedown per 15 minutes. So this fight is going to play out on the feet. And I think Zhang's going to land some brutal shots early. And getting off that big minus 520 number, you can get Zhang by knockout inside the first 2 rounds is around minus 145, minus 150. I think that is a fantastic price. This is the end of Smith, and I do think that it does end brutally in favor of Zhang.
Kyle Anthony, you got another one? Come on.
I got another one for you.
Come on.
All right, so we got Randy Brown. We have Randy Brown. We got Randy Brown here. He is minus 235. In the comeback, we have Nicholas Dalby. He is plus 195. Now, the reason why Brown is the favorite here is because now Dalby is a 40-year-old. Obviously, that's not a good sign when you're looking at age-wise. We're just talking about Anthony Smith. But also, you've got, Brown, who has a 4-inch reach advantage. He's going to be better on the feet. He's going to be better at range. And there are those things that he does do well, which still at minus 235, this line is, I think, very prohibitive at this point here. And really, most of Brown's wins are very small margins. I mean, he is just eking out some decisions. He's getting these victories, but just eking them out. And I think the style at which Dalby fights is really going to be giving Brown a ton of problems here as he moves forward. And that's the thing really with Brown. He wants space. He wants to utilize his reach. He wants to utilize, his footwork. And Dalby's going to crash the pocket. He's going to come forward. He's not going to stop. He weaponizes his cardio very well. And really, I think it's going to be like a rinse and repeat here. He's going to push forward, get him up against the fence, probably bully Brown a little bit, hold him up against the fence, take him down. If Brown gets up, he's going to stay latched on. He's got incredible cardio. He's going to keep doing that. And I think that's going to cause a lot of problems here. And then also, you look at the fact that Brown, his last loss really was in that manner. He pretty much, was against Brian Battle. He was landing good shots early. And then as the fight was going on, Battle said, forget it. Let me just hold you up against the fence and just pretty much cage push for the fight. And that's what he did. And it worked out. He got the decision victory. I do think this is really what Dalby's going to do. And I think he does it actually better than Brian Battle does. So you're talking about a plus 190 price tag here. I think this should be much closer. I think there's a path here that Dalby can actually go out there and get the job done. So I don't think it's going to be a flashy victory, but I think he'll win positionally and bank rounds and get the job done.
What do you got to promote?
So we were actually coming off UFC 314. We went 5-0 on client plays, nearly 12 units of profit for clients. Absolutely fantastic. Hit on our 5% max bet, which on Alexander Volkanovski, minus 115. We beat that number, which closed at around minus 160. And over the last 12 months, #1 MMA capper. I do have another 5% play up for this weekend. We're 16-5 on those plays over the last 12 months. Really finding good opportunity to place our money in strong positions. We've got 10 straight weeks of UFC coming up. So lock in, and those plays are on WagerTalk.com.
There we go. Kyle Anthony, mic drops. Get out of here, my brother. See you next Thursday. That's the show, everyone. Make sure to watch tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. Same show, same time, same everybody, different guests. 1 p.m. Eastern is the Blue Line and Puck Time combined for a live NHL playoff show. Lots of love, everybody. I'm super pumped about the bets going tonight. Thanks for watching. We will see you all tomorrow.